The B-29 Superfortress was the most expensive weapons program of World War II, more expensive than the Manhattan Project. That fact usually surprises people. The atomic bomb gets the headlines. The airplane that delivered it cost almost twice as much to develop. The overlooked fact: the B-29 was not an improved B-17. It was a leap across several generations of aviation technology all at once. Pressurized cabins, remote-controlled gun turrets, 4 2,200 horsepower engines, a bomb bay that could carry 20,000 pounds, all of it untested in 1942. And it worked. The B-29 ended the war not with one bomb, but with thousands of tons of incendiaries dropped from an altitude that Japanese fighters could barely reach. But the path to that success was littered with crashed prototypes, failed engines, and crews who died testing an airplane that was not ready to fly. The B-29 was designed in 1940, before the United States entered the war. Boeing's engineers knew they were building a bomber that could reach Japan from China. The problem was that no existing engine could push a 70-ton bomber that far. So Boeing designed a new engine, the Wright R-3350. The R-3350 ran hot, dangerously hot. Cylinder heads cracked during ground tests. Engines caught fire on the runway. Boeing knew this. They flew anyway. The first overlooked decision. The Army Air Forces ordered 1,664 B-29s before a single prototype had completed flight testing. The prototype caught fire on its 6th flight. The crew landed in a field. The aircraft was a total loss. Production continued anyway. General Hap Arnold, the commander of the Army Air Forces, told his staff, "I don't care if they catch fire. Get them to the Pacific." The second overlooked decision was that the B-29's engines required overhaul every 75 hours. By comparison, a B-17 could go 200 hours between overhauls. Ground crews in the Pacific, well, they worked 18-hour days swapping engines. They actually got so good at it that a 4-engine change could be done in just 6 hours, while the factory took 8. The B-29's first combat mission was on June 5, 1944, flying from bases in India against Bangkok. But honestly, the results were unimpressive. Only 18 of 98 bombers actually hit the target. The real problem was logistics. B-29s based in China had to be supplied by air over the Himalayas. Every gallon of fuel burned 2 gallons to get it there. A wry observation. Flying fuel over the world's highest mountains to bomb an enemy capital is not efficient. It is desperate. And in 1944, the Allies were desperate. The solution was the Marianas. If the Marines could take Saipan, Tinian, and Guam, B-29s could reach Japan without flying over the Himalayas. The Battle of Saipan cost 3,000 American dead and 27,000 Japanese dead, but it gave the B-29s a runway just 1,200 miles from Tokyo. By November 1944, the 73rd Bomb Wing was operating from Tinian. The first B-29 raid on Tokyo from the Marianas took place on November 24, 1944. It failed. High-altitude precision bombing with the Norden bomb site did not work against Tokyo's dispersed industrial layout. The bombs missed. Enter General Curtis LeMay. He studied the raid data and made a decision that horrified his own staff: strip the B-29s of their guns and fuel, and bomb from 5,000 feet at night. LeMay's logic was brutal but sound. Japanese night fighters were ineffective. Anti-aircraft fire was inaccurate below 10,000 feet, and Tokyo was made of wood and paper. The M69 incendiary cluster bomb was designed specifically for Japanese cities. A single B-29 could carry 40 clusters. Each cluster contained 38 incendiary tubes. On the night of March 9, 1945, 334 B-29s took off from the Marianas. They dropped 1,665 tons of incendiaries on Tokyo. 16 square miles of Tokyo burned. 100,000 Japanese civilians died. The B-29 losses, 14 aircraft. LeMay's gamble had worked. Over the next 5 months, B-29s burned 60 Japanese cities. The campaign culminated in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Enola Gay and Bockscar were standard B-29s. The only modification was a larger bomb bay to accommodate the atomic weapons. No write-ups. After all the engine fires, the cracked cylinders, the emergency landings, the aircraft that delivered the atomic bomb had no mechanical issues. The B-29 was the most technologically advanced bomber of its time. It was also the most troubled, but it worked when it mattered. The lesson of the B-29 is not about engineering brilliance alone. It is about industrial courage. The United States bet billions on an unproven airplane and won. The B-29 also taught the Air Force that strategic bombing requires strategic logistics. You cannot bomb an enemy capital from a base you do not control. And finally, the B-29 proved that technological leaps are worth the risk. The B-52, the B-1, the B-2, all of them owe something to the Superfortress. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper.